Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I'm going to ask this question. I already know the answer based on experience and wasting a lot of time and energy over the years. I learned it. Why should you hire an interior designer? There are many reasons, and we're
Yes.
going to dig deep into that. She is somebody that helps people move their life and their designs forward all the time. She is the owner and principal designer at Creative Interior Designs, Lynda Griffin. See, now I'm verklempt. This is what we talked about before we got on here. And now I am. Lynda Griffin joins us. Hey, Lynda, how you doing?
Hey, Steve, I'm doing fine. Thank you. Hanging in there. How are you doing?
I'm good on this tax day. That's when we're broadcasting.
Yes,
You
it
may be looking at
is.
this after.
Absolutely.
Hopefully some money coming your way and now get life done the right way in terms of your design. Right. I tell you, when I think back, Lynda, to all the home projects, and now that I see the benefits of an interior designer, how that would have been so much better, easier, more fun, exciting. It is a drain when you're doing it by yourself, attempting, let me change that, attempting to do it by yourself. That's just my personal experience. I mean, I'm looking at a room, an extension I put on the house before the last one.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty big one. And that could have been done so much better and used more effectively with all the expense that went into that. It turned out to be a room that nobody ever really used. It was horrible, except it was an office. I had an office in there, but the office was this big compared to the room being this big.
Yeah.
But
that's funny.
I didn't even think of the purpose of the room overall, but that's my starting point. How about you? Why should we hire an interior designer?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, it's funny. I had some clients that I spoke to today, and she said to me, Lynda, that's why we want to hire you because it's overwhelming for us. And when you have to go and figure out fixtures and cabinetry and, furniture, that's a bit overwhelming to someone who doesn't do it regularly. The difference is with us is that we do that every day. I eat, sleep, and dream interior design. So really, if I'm not working on projects for my clients, I may be working on mine. Generally, I don't get a chance to because I'm always working for everyone else. But there are moments and times that I get a chance to work on my own. But it's really rewarding for clients to tell you that. And the reason why it's rewarding is because then you know your limitations. So the first reason, know your limitations. And it's okay to know that I can't accomplish this on my own. Some of this might be control, where I kind of want to control the outcome, but then you kind of miss the mark. So you kind of miss some of the specific details. So we can kind of come in then as a designer and help you identify some of those key distinctive characteristics or the key distinctive design principles, styles. We can kind of come in and help you to figure that part out. But again, everyone's question is, or they'll say, I'm just overwhelmed. That's when you know you need to hire a designer. If you're going to be going on trips and travel, don't try to tackle interior design of a space in between all of that. You're going to really miss some details just being in and out, whereas we carry the project from concept to completion. So then you have those that say, okay, I know exactly what I want to see. I just don't know how to get there. And those are the ones that we can work with when they hire us to say, okay, you at least have a little bit of a vision. That's great. Because then we can actually take it and expand it. And then that's when we usually get the wow based on what we've shared with them in the rendering. So it is important to know, why you really want the designer in there, not just because it sounds good, but because there's a purpose to that. There's an understanding, there's a support, there is, I'll let you handle this because I can't. And I just want to be able to see the finished product and enjoy the space. And that's why you hire a designer.
back to my room. If I had you, you would have probably been the voice of reason because I wanted lots of windows. Give me windows. I
Yeah.
want lots of
Yeah.
windows.
Hmm.
I got enough windows to code, based on
Okay. Yeah.
R factors and things like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, that was it was a refrigerator, that room was. Because quality materials, it was just cold. The room was always cold.
Absolutely.
I didn't even think of those things. And there's others,
Hmm.
there's other things at play there.
Right.
Um, but I just know, with some guidance, it was work.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have felt like work. That room was a lot of work. And I'm just referring to one room. It was big. I'm talking
Yeah.
like 40 feet.
Yeah.
It was a big room.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So, and it can be because, again, the contractors want to talk technical. Most people don't want to really worry about the technical.
Yeah.
Realistically, I don't
Hmm.
really care if it's 13 feet high and 5 feet wide. Okay, what can I do with it? So when we come into your space and we have a two-dimensional sketch, we kind of call it the schematics, where we get to sketch out your floor plan for you. That's for us to be able to look at, okay, here's the floor plan. This is what we can put in it. So the method to our madness isn't because it looks great. And then sometimes even I think design is a little misrepresented on television a little bit, because everyone thinks it's just what makes you feel good. Oh, this is great. Oh, that's going to be great. These colors are, there's a reason. We have been literally trained in understanding color theory. There are design principles that we use that I was just sharing with this client during a consultation earlier today. It is a reason why we have a chair that's a distance from a coffee table. There's a reason why we have a table or a sofa away from the wall at a certain distance. There's a reason why we have artwork above and hung above the sofa at a certain distance or measurement, because then everything makes the room cohesive. So it's not, oh, well, now we need to fill it. Now we need something over there. No, everything has a reason. And in our designs, we actually do that by using that 2D floor plan. So when you get it, we have two chairs, sofas, da 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 da. So we have those things, but it's not because we just felt good about
Wow.
them. They look good. There's a
I
reason.
I never realized there was, deep meaning in just even the height of a picture. This is all things are
Yeah.
considered when you're designing. Wow. How close do you work with, let's say, an architect?
We work with architects on mainly commercial projects, or if it's a brand new build, like this particular project is, it's a complete model of our client's parents' home that they once occupied. So they've really have taken time to gut this entire house and adding on parts to the house because the house was smaller, of course, back in 1945. So now we are expanding the space and it's really beautiful. So we get a chance to work with the architects on those kinds of details. If it's commercial, the architect can go over some of those same details. What do you want to see? What do you want to do with the space? How do you want this to look? The beauty of the architect is really to go in and put everything to paper. And that's the schematic. So, but as designers, we too can put together our floor plans, our schematics. And that way you get all your dimensions and we can show you what things are going to look like and where they're going to go. But it is really important to work with an architect if you're going to take on a massive remodel, a complete gut, to not try to do that thing on your own, because you will miss details
Oh,
that only an architect can tell you from a structural perspective.
when you're working on, let's say it's a room addition, a remodel.
Mhm.
Is it important for you as the designer to get involved with the architect and the homeowner to look at all those things, what we can do, what we can't do? Because I would think that you might say, hey, wait a minute, you might want to consider a closet here. Well, now it's back on the architect to
Mhm.
design that closet. Can it be done?
Correct.
All of that.
Correct. Oh, yeah. At the very beginning, we kind of start talking with architects, whoever's gotten the bid, structural engineers, if they're not internal to the firm, or the fact that you'll get, if you have your own, we have our own structural engineer that can come out and look at a project for us to ensure of the integrity of it. We don't necessarily need an architect for all of them, but some. But yeah, there's a lot of communication that goes on about what you want to do with the space and how that's to look. If there are bulkheads or things that are structurally sound, how are you going to move those to open up a space and not know that if you move them, then the floor is going to collapse? You have to really know those details, and only an architect can really go in and take design tools to show you what that really looks like. So if it can be moved, great. If it cannot, we don't move it. We design around it. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah. How about some of the other reasons why we would hire a designer?
Well, the other reasons to hire a designer really have to do with not only not burdening yourself and being overwhelmed, but then secondly, we have such reach. We have a really long and broad reach to suppliers that most clients never even heard of. So if we're sourcing something, it could be sourced out of the country. It could be sourced in the country. And only designers in this trade have that reach. So that's like an architect. They have pretty much the same kind of reach. So you get to see and talk to people to procure, their goods. And those are the things that people are not going to find in the local yokel, which is why it's very unique for one to actually work with an interior designer, so that you have much more options available to you when we're designing your space. We need those options, not, hey, can you only decorate with our local home stores? Because you're really not going to find, standard, products there. You're probably going to find subpar, and we just can't put those things into your space. So the other idea, the other thought for hiring a designer, so we have reach, accessibility, the trade program, and then we have, of course, not taking on large projects and being overwhelmed, is that, again, you have the trade where we have discounts. So not only do we have the access, most people don't know anything about those discounts. We have to share it with you. We share it with our clients. It could be 20, 30, 35% in a discount for goods, whereas you're going to go and pay a markup of about 300% in a store.
Wow.
I remember going into a furniture store, and the furniture store said, she's a designer. No, we don't have trade discounts. And I said, oh, okay. And so I was looking, I said, So I went online. This was years ago when I first kind of got started. Started doing the research to see exactly, where did this sofa come from? Who's the manufacturer? So I looked up the manufacturer and noticed literally that there was like a 1,000% markup. 1,000% markup, which is why they said, oh, no, because that's profit for them. So some stores, local, yokel, are not going to have trade programs or trade discounts because they don't want to lose the profit. Now, I don't blame them. I understand. We're in the business to be in business and make money, right? But 1,000% markups are really extreme, but we can find something a little bit better and cost effective for our clients that may be further out, but at least we can find those goods without you having to go to the store and pay the middleman and the same man 1,000% markup. So those are some great benefits for you working with a designer. Not to mention, it's in our hands and we care for it, again, from concept to completion. And so all you want to do is the big reveal.
Yeah.
And everybody loves the big reveal.
Would you say, working through your vendor, if you will, that the quality is going to be way better typically than, going to the home store?
Absolutely. I've danced that dance before. I think when I first started in the journey of interior design, just kind of seeing what's out there to source, what's on the shelf. And what I found was very disappointing. I don't know. There are moments, I think, that you might go into a local home store and you see something really nice and it's like, oh my gosh, let me grab it, because if I don't, somebody else will. But that's rare in the sense of it's not consistent, which means if you go to the Las Vegas Design Center, you'll see consistent beauty, consistent beautiful accessories. It's not, oh, that one might have a chip on it, or that one might have been dropped by the person taking it out the box. It might, no. All those goods from places that we actually use, that we source from, have quality products. So that's the reason why when you go to model homes, when you look in our magazines, you see good quality pieces and furnishings that are second to none, because we have that reach to be able to get it. That's why you should hire a designer.
Yeah. And this is really attacking the misconception, because my thinking is, well, okay, we're going to go to those designer places and it's going to bump up the cost considerably, as opposed to, but then you look at the quality that you're getting from the local home store. I'm not the expert, not to say that, hey, I need a plant, and yeah, one looks okay. Maybe that'll work from the home store. But by and large, a lot of times, unless you go to, you pass a certain bar, you're not going to get that quality, and it's not going to last, or it's going to fade, or whatever it might be.
Right. Correct. I mean, that's really true. It is, the quality of it is going to be much better. When you go to again, local stores generally are going to have pieces that the buyer procured from someplace. Sometimes it can be some of the same places, same manufacturers, same suppliers. It can be, but you're not going to get the collective efforts of that every time. You might get 4 pieces from that supplier, 2 pieces from him, 1 piece from him, because they have a budget. You want to go directly to the source. We get to go directly to our sources and say, we want to accessorize our entire house. And I literally can go to one supplier, one source, and get all of my accessories for one house. If I chose to, I could do that. So I don't have to drive around from store to store. Sometimes our clients will ask us, well, do you go to the stores? I've seen designers, maybe local designers, in the stores with their clients, and I just kind of chuckle a little bit about they're helping them with some of the pieces that are there, but that's time consuming as well. And you're not sure what you're going to find, but we do know that if we go out further in our reach, we can find whatever. What is my saying? The man makes everything. The man, being the manufacturer, makes everything. So all you have to do is query it and you'll find it.
So I see the radical difference here. And for me, it just came clear. When you go to the home stores, you're finding things that can work in your room. When you go through you and you go to places where designers go, you're finding exactly what you want. You don't find exactly what you want at the home stores. You find something that can work. Yeah, that'll work.
All right. Very good work. Can work.
Yeah,
very good.
But it's not. It wasn't what the intended design necessarily was. You're kind of just, you're sort of taking a square object, putting it around hole, puzzle, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not optimum. Yours is optimum because that's what it was designed for. In the corner, we're going to have whatever, a plant stand and a certain height plant, and it's going to look like this, and it's going to look like that, and it's going to be perfect. You're not going to find that at the home store. You might get lucky, find something reasonably close.
Exactly, Steve. Exactly. You might get lucky. It is based on timing. I think we talked about that in some of our early series about going shopping.
Yeah.
When is a good time to actually go shopping to get the goods? Find out what the store's, preference days are, delivery days. Sometimes they'll say, if you come back on said date, you can come back here and we can show you what we get in. And so by the time people get to the store and everything's out on the floor, everything else is picked over. So you really don't know what you missed out on. So that's a gamble. But with us, with our design firm, we at least we're able to look at our catalogs. As I look up here, I've got a bazillion catalogs to actually look through and source goods from all over. And based on where I'm going, what style, design style, colors, sizes, all of that, I can look through those catalogs to find what I need. And what I want.
Yeah.
As we just talked about.
Which ties into your vision for the room. That this is why we hired a designer. We didn't hire a designer to go over to the home store. It's
say that again, Steve, for the people in the back.
Didn't hire a designer to go to the home store. You might as well just have your sister go with you, or a friend, or whatever, that
absolutely
can give you a suggestion. Hey, you know what? Maybe you want to have a plant in the corner there. Right. And the other part of it is too, if you get lucky and find something that sort of fits your puzzle from the home store, you're not getting the quality. And I believe that makes a difference in terms of, you want this done for a while.
Absolutely. And I shared that again with my client today. We only want you to spend money one time. The idea is to design the space appropriately so that it takes you for decades. Now, design trends can be 7-10 years, somewhere in that ballpark, before you decide that, hey, I think I want to refresh my space and get a new area rug, or I think I might want to dress up pillows. But ultimately, you're not going in, I think I want to toss out all these chairs and sofas, because we're purchasing those chairs, sofas, and love seats or accent chairs or whatever with sound product. So it is a product that's going to last. So it may cost you a little bit more, but you would rather buy something that's going to cost you a little bit more, that's going to last you longer, than buying something that the spring system is not so well made, but because you like the way it looked. We can't go off of feeling and the way it looks. Now, it's that, along with all the principles that we use to design your space. Not, oh, I think this is really nice. Well, who's the maker? How much cushion is in this thing? Doesn't look to be doesn't look to be that. What's the weight?
Yeah.
How many pounds can you put in this chair, Steve? And they are putting that on stuff specifically now to let you know 250 pounds is the max in this chair or the sofa. There's that for a reason. 300 pounds is the max. So you don't want to go and get pieces of furniture where that it might be something different weight-wise, because depending on its use and where you're going to put it, it could be commercial. So I've got to make sure this puppy lasts for a great deal of time, not just get the contract and put in whatever. So we are very sound with what we select and what we source for our clients to show you. We have been extremely blessed to actually have designs where our clients really did love them. We get to see the finished product, and we show you the renderings, of course, of the finished product. But it's something about the very day of the big reveal, or the install, the final install, and you get to see all the pieces come together. It's like our eyes are just tick, 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 because we're seeing the recreation of something that was digital now come alive. They get to see it because their room is finished. It's my space is finally finished. So, but that's the reason why it's a great thing and it's always fun too. We make sure our clients have a great time designing. I must say that.
Goes back to what I said in the beginning, should be fun. And a lot of times when you try to do it yourself, or, ask opinion from friends, family, it's not fun. No. How do we find you? How do we connect?
You all can connect with me through our website, cidbylynda.com, www.cidbylynda.com, and go to our webpage there and go to the contact page. Click on the contact tab, fill out the information that tells us a little bit about what you're doing, what you're interested in, and someone will give you a call back within 24 hours, business hours, or you can reach out to directly. at 301-298-9090. That is our office directly, and the assistant will take your information and we will give you a call back within 24 business hours.
Always fantastic talking with you. You are the fresh air within the design. You make it exciting. You do. It's again,
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a truth. As I look back, in my, living spaces over the years, should have done it with a designer. Should have done it with a designer. It would have been.
Yeah, you would have had a great time.
Yeah.
You really would have had a great time. So some things you might not have missed, but those that are listening, definitely, if you're thinking about it, don't hesitate. Just contact us, and we'll take a look at all your projects or a project that you're interested in, or we can prepare your renderings for you to kind of help you visualize what you really want to see as well. So, but awesome. Pleasure, Steve.
Yeah, same with you, and we'll catch up next time. Okay.
Catch up next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.